So today I want to talk about building a mobile app. So this is an app for your smartphone, and it's an app that you can then make available on the Google Play Store for Android or on the Apple iTunes Store for Apple. So it's an app that you can use to enhance your business. App building used to be quite hard. I ran my first webinar on this in 2010, which was quite a while ago when mobile apps are fairly new. And at the time, the only way you could build affordably an app for your phone was to basically build like a mini website, and then you'd make it available for people to have like a bookmark on their phone, and it would take them to a nice mobile friendly, but still a little mini website. But now you can build apps, like real apps that people download off the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. There's quite a lot of app builders around, and today I want to take you through one of them. I'll show you my app that I've built. It took me more than an hour to build it, but that's because I was doing a whole bunch of learning as I was going, and what I want to do today is for you to get the benefit of my learning so that you can build it quite quickly. It's going to be a very practical webinar, so broadly broken up our time into 4 areas. So first of all, this is my intro now, so we'll just spend about 5 minutes on that. Got about 10 minutes taking you, before we get into the actual building of the app, I'll give you an overview of the software that we're using. It's online hosted software, but there's a couple of important concepts to understand about it, which will help you when you come to building your own app. Then we'll spend most of our time actually building the app, and I will show you how to set up your home screen, how to add little components to your app, how to publish it to the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. We won't go into the publishing bit in too much detail because it's just basically filling in a couple of forms, but most of the time we'll spend today will be actually building your app. And then the 15 minutes at the end, there's a couple of extras that I want to show you. That's kind of optional, so I want to show you how to create nice graphics for your app, and some people will need this, some people won't. So if you want to check out at that point and leave, that's fine. That's why I put that at the end, so that if you want to, if you've got enough and you want to leave, that's fine. If you want to come back and watch it on the recording later, that's fine as well. I'll show you how to add a YouTube channel and your blog posts into your app. It's just a little bit of technical stuff at the end, but most of the time we'll be actually building the app. So before we get started on that, as I said in the overview section, I'm just interested to know what kind of app are you looking to build, and I've grouped them into these 4 areas here, so I'll quickly go through them. You can see one of them I've highlighted in green, which is the one that I hope you will build, because I think that's the most effective for most businesses. But let me quickly go through this model, and then I will just stop and just ask you to type in the question box what you have in mind for an app at the moment, because it'll help everyone else know who's in the room, and it'll help me as we go through the building process as well. Okay, so I've grouped this into 4 areas. So there are apps that are helpful, and there are apps that are purely promotional. So I've called it help and sell. And there's an app that people will use only once, and you may think, what's the point of that? But actually sometimes it's useful, and there are apps that people will use often. So the apps that are ads, which are promotional apps that people only use once, they're probably the least useful. So sometimes you get them. You have to download an app in order to get some sort of special offer or be able to get entrance to something. People will download it, but then generally they will then delete it or uninstall it soon after that need's been met. You can have apps, which are in this second section here, which are campaigns, which are ads that are delivered over and over again. Now you might think there can't be anything more annoying in the world than having ads delivered to you over and over again, but if you're offering value, that can be useful. So Catch of the Day, for example, the online shopping store that offers really good prices on products that you order online, they have an app, and hundreds of thousands of people download that app because they want to know what are the latest specials from Catch of the Day. So this campaign is all it is ads. Ads asking you to buy, but because they're offering real value, people will buy. So I'm not saying that I'm saying that it doesn't matter whether you've got the ad or not. If it's promotional, if it's valuable, people will still buy it and will download the app for it. Up here is this once-off a useful app which is quite often used for things like events. So I've spoken at a couple of conferences recently, and one of them had a really good app. And there's a lot of app building software out there specifically for conferences, where you see all the speakers, you see the program, you can see what sessions to sign up for, you can offer feedback, you can get take part in online polls interactively with the presenters and so on. And those are really valuable as well. So it's a one-off app, but it's a helpful app as well. What I hope that we're all thinking about building is this here, which is helpful, and it's something that's helpful over and over and over again. It's an app that's a tool. So my app, which I'll show you in a few minutes, I've called it Fit for the Future, part of my branding, and I built it out of demand. So people after my conference presentations would come up to me and say, look, how do we know, like, what books should we read, what podcasts should we listen to, how can we follow you to find out what you're thinking about? So I've created an app which gives them exactly that. So I promote this now in all my conference presentations. I say, here's my app. If you want to know what's the latest about what's coming up in the future, the podcasts that I recommend, the videos that I'm watching, the books that I recommend, and articles I've written, they're available in the app, and you just open it and you can read the latest, watch the latest videos. Okay, so that's what I've done with my app. It's a tool for people. It's helpful, and they can refer to it over and over again. Okay, so let me just have a quick pause and just check in with you. What sort of app would you like to build? So just briefly in the question box, please type in what kind of app you want to build. By the way, if it's a private one, then keep it private, because I'll just read these out. Or just let me know that not to read it out. Yep, okay, so David says, yeah, tools as part of scientific experiments and data collection. Yeah, okay, good. So the app software that I'll show you, David, that I'll show you today, includes quite a lot of integration with forms for collecting data. Yeah, Anne says number 4. And do you want to be more specific about the kind of app that you're thinking of? You don't have to be, but the more I know, the easier it is for me to help you as we go through. Okay, I'm just going to stop and see if other people want to type in what kind of app they have in mind. Yeah, okay, so Graham says, a tool based on my book. Yep, I know your book, Graham, because I helped you put it together. Help for real estate consumers. Yeah, okay, great, exactly right. So that's a really useful one for people who are buying real estate, and also one for my mentoring business. Brendan says hydraulic troubleshooting app. Great, Brendan, that's good. I think that videos might be really useful for that app, so we'll look out for that section. Yeah, someone else says, I wasn't sure when I enrolled. They all look interesting, but a tool would be useful in my line of work. Okay, good. David, exercise tool with a feedback option. David Beard. Lauren, enter in your daily living cost to assess how much you're saving when you're traveling. Great, good idea. Brian, an app that will help scan business cards and make it easier to store info in a database. Yeah, in fact, Brian, there are apps that will do that at the moment, like Evernote, for example. You can take photos of business cards and it'll scan them in for you. Justice says an app similar to mine. Okay, good. Anne says, yeah, mentor guide. Great. So resources after people attend my yep, and after people attend my Discover Your Strengths workshop. And David says, I like the idea of a coaching app. Yeah, great. So one of the things that I think that if you're a thought leader, a speaker, a trainer, a consultant, facilitator, I think one of the best uses of an app is for coaching. Because the coaching is when David's not here with you, what questions would you ask, and then make your app answer those questions in YouTube videos or articles or audio downloads. So those sort of things, that sort of thing, like a coaching app, is really useful for anybody who positions themselves as an expert. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. There's a range of apps here, which is great, really great to see. So let's look at the software that we'll be using over the next hour and a bit. There's a lot of app building software available now, and there's a variety of them, and I recommend that, given that you're attending this webinar and you're learning how to build an app in an hour using this software here, don't go around looking at the others. There are some others and they all have their variations, but look, we're doing one now. You might as well start with this one. It is easy to build, and if you find later on that it doesn't serve your needs, then go and look at others. But I reckon a lot of people get into paralysis by analysis because they do too much analysis of all the variations that are available to you. So the one that we're going to use is called called buildfire.com. And the way it works is you can sign up free, you can start building your app free. It's only when you publish it and start using it that you have to start paying for it. And it works on a hosted basis, and it's a monthly membership, so you pay a subscription for it. There's a few levels more than what I've shown you here, but broadly there are 3 levels you could choose from, and I reckon we as general business owners should be in this second level here, the premium level. These are US dollars, $59 a month. The basic level is good to start setting up your app and start publishing it, but the biggest downside, I mean, they all have a number of different features, but the biggest downside of this one is that you don't get, you can't publish it to the iTunes store. So you can publish it to the Google Play Store for Android and make it available to like 80% of the world, but you can't publish it to the iTunes store, which as you know, a lot of people are using iOS. So the premium one here, which is $59 a month, does allow you to publish it to both. Yeah, so that's the one I recommend you get. But you can do all the building, all the testing, all the previewing completely free. So you don't need to start paying this until you're ready to launch your app. And then if you don't like the plugin bits that are available with the basic software, then this company Buildfire, they've got their own app developers who will then do all the extra stuff for you. So they'll do like what I've called done for you from $750 up. Yeah, you can pay them to either build the app for you if you don't want to go through and fiddle around with it yourself, or do some custom app development if you want specific special features in there. I think David Beard, maybe some of the things you're thinking about may require more than what comes in as the standard plugins from Buildfire. So you've got those variations. I reckon you should start with the free one, and then when you're ready to launch, pay the $59 a month and get going with it. Okay, so let me share with you, before we jump into actually building the app, let me share with you some really important concepts around it. This is my app, the Fit for the Future app. The appearance is pretty straightforward. Appearance is like your skin. So it's what fonts you're using, what color scheme you're using. So the fact that all my icons are in yellow is one of the built-in schemes, one of the built-in design templates, if you like. You can then go in and customize a template, but all of that is under appearance, which we'll see when we open up the software. The thing at the side here, which they call the side menu, is you see this on most apps. There's a menu somewhere, and that will take you to each of the pages on the app. They don't call them pages, but if you imagine this like a website, it'll take you to the different pages within the app. Then there are these concepts called plugins, and this is the thing that it took me a while to wrap my head around, but once you understand it, it all makes sense. So let me explain it right up front. So your app is made up of not pages, so it's not like a website with multiple pages. It's just made up of plugins, and the plugins are just the bits of functionality within your app. So if you want a shopping cart, there's a shopping cart plugin that will plug into Shopify or PayPal. If you want a calendar, so some sort of booking form, then there's a calendar plugin. There's one that plugs into You Can Book Me, which is my calendar system. If you want to show a location, there's a Maps plugin, and so on. Okay, so everything within your app is basically a plugin. Your home page, so they don't call it a home page, they call it a home plugin, and the home plugin just allows you to link to other plugins. The side menu, all the items in the side menu, you just choose which plugins you want in your side menu. So once you get that concept, and now that I've explained it, you should go, well, duh, that's pretty obvious. It is, but you have to understand that you have to understand that first, and then everything else falls into place. Okay, so when we see my app, which we'll do a little tour of it now, I'll show you the plugins that I'm using, and then when we build, you can use your own. Okay, so the plugins appear broadly in 3 places. They appear in the home plugin, so you can see that I've got 9 plugins on my home page, or what they call the home plugin. They appear on the side menu, and there's another place that they appear in a little bit later, which I won't get into right now. But you can have a page with multiple plugins on it, like some text and a video, and links to my testimonials. You'll see that as we get to it. But mainly, you'll be adding plugins to your home plugin, and you'll be adding plugins to your side menu. Okay, and then most of building the app is just configuring the plugins. So you choose, they've got a whole set of plugins. You pick the ones you want, and you decide, are they going to go in the home plugin, are they going to go in the side menu, or both, and then that's it, and that's your app. That's your app done. Okay, so I know that's a very simplified way of describing it, but basically that's it. To give you an example of some of the features that you've got, and I'll show you some of them that we're not going to go through all of them here, but because people asked about coaching, so the RSS reader will look at things like contact information. That's a pretty basic one. You can do shopping. So there's it'll link to things like Shopify. And there was some other one that, so like event calendars, if you want to do things like bookings, that can go in there. Graham, because you asked about for your mentoring, maybe you want people to actually book online for mentoring sessions online, you can go in there. And the people who want to do things, coaching sort of, and resources like Brendan and David and Anne, then you can add in things like podcasts, YouTube, MP3s, and so on. Okay, so that's just a few of the features. We'll go into them, and this webinar, I really want to give you the chance to ask me. So if you see a plugin and you go, oh, I like the look of that, can you show it to me? I'll do what I can to show it to you. I haven't explored all of them, but I'll do what I can. The other big thing about Buildfire is that it links to a whole bunch of other services that you might already be using. So for example, I do all my online bookings for people to make appointments with me using a service called You Can Book Me, youcanbook.me, and Buildfire links to that. So you'll see on my contact page, if people want to call me, they can make a booking on my calendar using linking to my You Can Book Me calendar, which then links to my Google Calendar, and they can make a booking. Only in the times and dates that I allow. Once it goes in there, it goes straight into my calendar. Nobody else can book at the same time. So all of the features that you're already using in some of these other tools, you get the full advantage of them because Buildfire just links straight into them. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just a quick walkthrough of my app, the Fit for the Future app. If you haven't got it yet, you can just download it. I recommend that you do. You don't need it for this webinar, but if you feel like doing it, now's a good time to do it. I just want to quickly stop and just check if anyone's got any questions before we do the walkthrough, and then we get into building the app. Obviously, I realize there'll only be overview questions at this stage, but that's okay. I'm happy to answer anything that you have at the moment. Okay, people are saying all good. Is a social wall plugin good for mentoring coaching? Yeah, good question, David. We'll have a look at that, and you can see whether it applies for you. There is another one, one of the other plugins in here actually allows you to set up like a little private membership site as well, so people can register as members and then they get access to stuff. They can chat among each other like a little mini Facebook sort of thing. I'm not sure whether that's the same as Social Wall, David. I can't remember. Yeah, and David says that sounds better. Yeah. Does You Can Book Me link to iCal? I think it does, Anne. I'm pretty sure it does now. So there's a whole bunch of these third-party services that it links to. By the way, You Can Book Me is not the only calendar in there. There's a couple of other calendar plugins as well. So just check out on their site which of them they integrate with. Okay, let's do a walkthrough. All right, so I'm just going to switch over to my web browser window. Okay, so just one thing I need to just tell you, which is going to be a little bit different from when you do it. The web address at the top here says appsumo.buildfire.com. Just ignore the AppSumo bit. Just when you log in, when you sign up, it'll be buildfire.com. AppSumo is a service that you just subscribe to, and it sends out these special offers, like Catch of the Day. And one of the special offers was a subscription to Buildfire, and so I got to. They send people who bought that, there's a special sign-in, but just ignore that bit. When you log in, it'll just be buildfire.com. So if you see any references to AppSumo throughout this webinar, just ignore that bit. It's completely independent of Buildfire, and it'll be completely relevant for when you're doing it. Okay, so here's my app, the Fit for the Future app. The way it works is, I'm on the help screen at the moment. Anytime you're in the app, you see anytime you're in the website, the Buildfire website, you see your app on the right-hand side. And it's an actual interactive app. It works. So I can click here and it'll take me to that plugin. So the Listen to Podcast, it'll show me what that looks like. And on the right-hand side there, and on the left here, this is where I can configure what it's going to look, how it's going to work. So my Listen to Podcasts one, actually let's stop. Yeah, okay, let's pick that one. Listen to podcasts. I have got it linking in to the recommended podcast that I upload on my blog. So every time I upload a new podcast to my blog and I write a little blog post recommending this podcast, anyone who opens up the app will get it when they go to the Listen to Podcast tab. So these are the podcasts that I've recommended in the past. And this is the feed, the RSS feed, and I just plugged it into Buildfire, and then I never have to touch this bit again. I just upload to my blog and that gets included. Read articles is similar. So these are articles that I've written on my blog. I put a special tag on them to put them into the app. And then every time I write an article, it appears on here. So here's one I wrote a couple of days ago, Leads versus Loyalty. People who are opening the app will click that and then they'll read the article. Okay, so I'm trying to make my app as little effort as possible after I build it, but still keep building keep adding value because I want people to use it more than once. Okay, what else was I going to show you on here? This is the side menu. So on the side menu, I've chosen to put the same plugins on my side menu as I have on my home plugin, but that's not compulsory. I can choose that the side menu only has say 3 or 4 items and the home plugin has 9, or vice versa, or any variation of that I want. Okay, so that's broadly my app. So most of these, like Watch Videos, what I've done with Watch Videos is I've got a YouTube playlist. So you can set up playlists in YouTube, and anyone can do this. You just have a YouTube account and you say add this to a playlist. And what I do is whenever I see interesting videos that could be of use to people who are looking at what's coming up in the future, I add that to the playlist, and that then appears automatically in the app. Okay, so again, I'm trying to make my work as little, minimize my work while still keeping the app up to date. There is this free resources is just a page that I set up where people can sign up to my newsletter. They can sign up to my webinar series. They can register for my podcast. Subscribe to the podcast or download this ebook. So that's kind of like a standard web page with links on it. So Buildfire allows you to do that. The Take Notes, there's a little notepad app in Buildfire, and look, I don't know how useful this is going to be, but I had one space free on my home plugin, so I just decided to add this one in there, and so people can take their own private notes. I don't see them as the app owner. These are just notes that people take, or maybe they paste in bookmarks for use later. The About Me is, if you can imagine, just basically a little bit of promotional information about me. And so I've got here, I'll show you a couple of interesting features on this one. So the top, I think this will change. So as you're watching this, it has a slideshow. So that's one of the nice features that's automatically built into Buildfire. In fact, you can see it on the left here. I've got these 5 pictures, and I've set them up as what they call a carousel. And so it just scrolls through them while people are looking at that plugin. Then there's a bit of text, and then there's a link to my speaker show reel. They can watch a full version of my keynote, or they can read some testimonials. Let me go into this one here. And what I did for testimonials, rather than just make them plain text, is I created a little graphic for each one. So we should have a graphic for each of the testimonials, kind of the same style, and then the text of the testimonial. Okay, and in the extra session at the end of today's webinar, I'll show you the tool that I use for creating these graphics. But you might already know how to do it. If you know how to use PowerPoint, you can just create these graphics in PowerPoint if you want to, and then just save them as JPEGs. Okay, and the one last one is the Get in Touch page. Fairly standard page. This is I just found some free icons that I downloaded and uploaded into here just to make it a little bit more visually attractive, and then just basically just standard contact information with links. So if they click the phone number, it'll actually come up with their the calling app in their phone, and they can call me straight away. Mobile there, they can go to websites, and then right at the bottom here, this is where I've got the chat with Gihan, and when you click that, which I don't think this works in the preview, but it'll work in the real app, it goes to You Can Book Me, and they can book something on my calendar. Okay, so that's a bit of a preview of my app, the Fit for the Future app. So what we're going to do for building the app is I'm just going to recreate this one, because you've seen one example of one. It's like, here's one that I did earlier. I'm going to build a brand new app, but it's going to kind of be the same as this. However, as we go through, if there's something else you want to add that you'd like to see, then tell me and we'll add that on there, right? So I'm going to have the same sort of graphics and branding, because I've already built those graphics, and you can see how easy it is to import them, but let's customize it. So it won't end up looking like this, but it's kind of aiming in this direction. So again, I want to stop and just check if anyone's got any questions. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to ask a question out loud, if it's more than what you can type in the question box. I have seen some questions coming in, so let me respond to them first. How many apps can you build on one subscription? Anne says. So Anne, the way it works is that when you set up your Buildfire account, you can build as many apps as you like, free, and every one that you publish, that's when you start paying. So you pay your $59 a month for each app that you're publishing. So you can go ahead and build as many as you like, but then start paying once they're live in the App Store. By the way, so you can see the preview here. There's a button here that says Preview on Phone. I think that only works for US phone numbers, but Buildfire has got an app of their own which allows you to preview your apps. So one of the first things you should do is download the Buildfire Previewer, and then you can run your app in the Previewer just like a live app. But here, to answer your question, Anne, each app that you build is a separate subscription, but you can each app that you publish separate subscription, but you can build as many as you like free, and then you start paying for each one as you publish it. Okay, so Brendan says, perhaps you could comment on using a tool, to make sales of, say, an online training program. So yeah, so Brendan, I'm happy to answer that question out loud if you want to ask. If you raise your hand and you got a microphone, I can turn your microphone on and you can ask that question out loud. But otherwise, I'll try and guess what you're trying to ask. I think, yeah, okay, great. Thanks, Brendan.
Oh, hi, Gant.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, so basically, I get the tool concept. I reckon that's the way to go. But obviously, well, even your app, I mean, obviously, it's a promotional tool clearly, and there's obviously ways in there that people can, do business with you, or I guess buy your book or whatever.
Yep.
So in terms of, I know we're just at the beginning of this, and it's starting to make sense already. But of course, one of the goals, what I'm thinking for my app is, yes, I want it to be functional as as a standalone tool, which hopefully can be used over and over again. But for people who use it who want more in-depth information related to the topic, that they could obviously do business with me, and for example get my online course, which probably could be accessed through their smartphone, or more ideally perhaps something bigger like a tablet or a notebook.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's exactly what I've done here. And you notice the way that I've done my app is that it's all value right up to the top, and it's only at the very end that I do any sort of promotion about myself. And I reckon you do the same. There's nothing wrong with you've earned the right to promote by providing lots and lots of value first. And if you're doing because you said you want to do a whole bunch of tutorials, are you thinking of doing video tutorials?
Well, I guess what I was thinking of is, by way of a skeleton, is to give away a certain amount of information. Yep. Not to be sort of tricky, but obviously it's a complex subject. So I guess the foundation for what I'm thinking for my app is basically a checklist. So a 12-step checklist, and as we work through, there's, like with any subject matter, there are people that will be quite expert to people who are relative novices, and so you can't cater for everyone. So, if the checklist is the things you need to check off, but in explaining what you need to check off, if you don't understand or you want more information about what it means to check these things off, then go here now and get the full Monty.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
You could definitely do that. In fact, I reckon at the end of each of your checklist items, you could say, get more resources, and that could link straight to your website.
Sure. Okay. So the website is the place to do that. Is I know you mentioned the shopping cart.
Oh yeah. I mean, if it's something where they could buy it straight away, then yes, then link to the Shopify plugin or the shopping cart plugins.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. You don't need to link them to the website if they're ready to buy at that point.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Ian. I'll keep watching what you're delivering, and if I've got any other fine-tuning questions, I'll ask them.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Was there anything else like Brendan asked? Because I'd like to know. All right. Let's do the building. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, so let's create a new app. So I've logged into my account here. I've got one app. I've got another one which Ape is actually. I was going to help my personal trainer with an app. So we'll skip that one. We'll go to create new app, and we're just starting from the blank. So starting right from scratch. The first thing you do is it gives you templates to work from. You don't have to. It doesn't matter what you choose. You're not locked into anything here. But I'm going to choose. Motivational speaker. Just pick that one. As I said, it doesn't really lock you into anything. It just sets up a little bit of a starting point for you, and then you can go in and change it from there. Right. Okay, so I'm going to call it Okay, so let me just log in here. I thought this would just go straight under my account. Okay, good. So I'll pause that. Okay, so what you find is that it started off building with a basic app in here. So this is your app already ready to launch if you want to. It's obviously not going to be right because it's not using your features, but it's already set up, ready to go if you wanted to, almost ready to go. So it starts off with this help window, which has a whole bunch of tutorials in there. But the first thing I'd suggest you do is you go to the appearance and you set up the skin for the app. Now you can spend a whole bunch of time on this, and I recommend that you don't obsess too much about it, but we do have to give our app a name, so let's call it Gihan. So this is the icon, and most of these things have a little information button. So when somebody downloads the app, it'll have this word or words on there, so it can't be that big. It'll ask you to upload an icon. It'll ask you to upload some screens, which are the loading screens. Now I've got a couple of these, I've got one of these set up. So you have to set up the graphics at these dimensions because people on different devices will see a different size, different shape loading screen. So let me upload one of them for you. Okay, just to show you how it works. Okay, I'm not sure how much of this will show up on your, oh no, that seems to be showing up okay. So I'll take this home one. And let it upload. And so one of the things you do when you start is just set up a few images, but you can do that later. It just needs to be done before you publish, of course. I tried to make the files reasonably small, so pick that one and insert that image. Okay, you can choose fonts and then you can choose different themes. So say you want a different color scheme, you pick it here and it should change the color scheme instantly. And then if you want to customize it even further, you can then go in and change the color scheme here. So pick your preset themes here and then change your colors if you want to. So if you've got specific colors for your branding, then you can go and change them there. The appearance screen is pretty straightforward. You create an icon for your app. This is the icon that appears in the iTunes store. It's the icon that appears on the phone when they download your app. So you can mess around with appearance, but you can mess around with it at any time. So you don't need to do it first. It's just that one of the things that people do go to first. And the main one that you start with is your home plugin. Okay, so that's where you say your home plugin says home, and then you decide what plugins are going to appear on the home. I keep wanting to call this home page, but I'm going to let me be correct and call it home plugin. You decide what other plugins you're going to have when people open up their app, and they've got a whole bunch of them that are pre-installed for you, but you can make up any of your own, and we'll look at some of them. Then on your in the Buildfire website, almost every time you open up one of these, when you click one of these, you'll see that there are two tabs here. There's content and there's design. So design is how that plugin is going to look. So if I click on design here, I can choose. Let me show you an example of this. So here's this plugin here, which is obviously a blog plugin, a reader plugin. They've set it up here so that you have a graphic along the top, and then individual blog posts, each with a little picture, a thumbnail picture on the left. But I can change the look of that by looking at this, the item list layout. So this is the list. I can say I want them to look like this. Okay, so now they're kind of in a grid, or I want them to look like this, with the big picture version, so not a thumbnail so much, but the big picture version, or I want them to look like this, okay, with square thumbnails. So you don't get that many options, but you at least get 4 options to choose from. And then when I click an article here, or when the user clicks an article and they read the full version of the article, Graham, we picked one on real estate agents, that's by coincidence. They've got 2 options there. You can, to make it look like, you can either make it look like this one, which is the way it's set up now, or you could make it look like this with the little mini version of the thumbnail. Okay, so you've got a little bit of control over how your users will see items in each of the plugins. They can also change it. You can also change the background image if you want to. I think it's rare that you do that, or you could turn pictures off altogether. Okay, and then you don't get the pictures back in the main plugin. The preview, by the way, on the right-hand side here is not perfect, so it doesn't always show exactly what the app will look like. But that's why you should download the previewer and then look at it in there. But it's pretty good, like it's 90% good. So that's your design. So every plugin will have a design tab, and every plugin will have a content tab. And the content tab is where you decide what's going to appear on the app. So this one, they've obviously taken a feed from their own blog, so they've pasted that in there and it'll run. I could take the feed from my blog, so if I change that to gihanpereira.com, because I know that my website, that should be the RSS feed for it, I think. Yep, okay, that's right. And instantly, I've got my blog now showing on there. Okay, with my articles, I don't necessarily like that look, but I do like this look here. And I'll turn the images back on. Okay, and there, voila, that's my blog as set up as a plugin on the app. So it's as simple as that. If I want to, let me do a couple of other little things just to show off a little bit, just to demonstrate things for you. Let me add another image. Okay, I made a few. I think I've made these small enough that they'll upload quite quickly. Okay, not sure whether I can do more than one at a time. Yes, I can. Insert images. Okay, so what I should have now, there you go. Now I've got my slideshow. Okay, and that's a plugin on the app, live, ready to go. Well, not live, but ready to go when I go live. Okay, any questions about that? Because I've just shown you one app, but I've got one plugin, but I've gone through a number of features there. So let me just answer questions. Okay, so David says, I think the danger here is that we just recreate a website. Can you talk about the differentiation between an app and a website? Yeah, exactly right, David. So what I've done is pretty much created a little mini version of my website. but obviously a customized version of our website. Really, for a lot of the apps that we create, there won't be much more than that. And there's nothing wrong with creating a website if it's a website that continues to deliver value. So I think the difference and the value in having the app is that it's a website, but it's a cut down version of the website that only has the dynamically changing things that will be of use to people. So, for example, things like the blog will keep changing. You saw on my app there was there were feeds for recommended books, recommended podcasts, things like that. So where my website is mostly about promoting me, but with additional resources, my app is the other way around. It's mostly about additional resources of value, but with a little bit of promotion of me. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we are creating like little mini websites, and many apps, not just Buildfire apps, but many apps are pretty much like that. There are a couple of other features, as I talked about, like the membership bit, where you can actually set up your own members in your within the app. If you've got a specific need for that, you might choose to do that if there's a use case for that. Okay, so you kind of got the general concept now of building, of adding plugins, choosing the layout of them, and then adding content to them. Let's explore. Let's add some plugins. So at the moment we've got About Me, blog, events. Let me change something else here. So I'll go to the Home plugin. Yeah, so looking at the design of the Home plugin, I'm going to change the background image because that's the one we've got at the moment, which is just the default one. So let me change that one to be mine because it's going to be mine. So I've designed that graphic already. Okay, it's not loading yet, but that doesn't matter. And so you can see here the side menu has got these items on there, which we're going to modify, and the main menu has got these 8 links to plugins on there, which we're also going to modify. So I'm going to take out, so I don't want About Me to be right at the front. In fact, I want it to be right down near the bottom, so I'll do that down there. And let's do some of these. Let's remove the donate button. So now removing it here hasn't removed the plugin from my plugin collection. It's just removed it from this Home plugin. It might still be on the side menu if it was there. Yes, it's still on the side menu. And even if I remove it from the side menu, it's still available in my plugins for me to add back at some point. But let's have a look. So let's see what my plugins are. And remember, this was set up from a template, so I didn't set this up. This is what Buildfire has given me from when we chose that template to start with. But you can choose, you can delete, you can add, you can change from here. They've just given you a nice, easy way to get started, but you can do whatever you like. So let's actually add a plugin. In fact, I'll ask what we can add. Let's have a look. So, David, you talked about having, collecting data, using it as a data collection tool. So let's use the type. So Typeform is a form collection service like SurveyMonkey. Actually, let me quickly go through all the plugins here. I won't go through them all in detail, but I'll go through them very quickly so you can kind of see what's on there. So things like YouTube, scheduling. The social wall is a bit where they can communicate with each other. I'll give you a quick overview and then we'll jump back and do a few of them. This RSS feed is the one that I've used quite a lot to add things from my blog, because that means that as soon as I add it to my blog, it gets updated on the app immediately. Keep going. So you can link to all the Google services like Google Sheets, which is another one for data collection, Google Docs if you want to show docs, Google Forms. Forms and Sheets kind of work together for data collection. Google Slides, you can upload like little PowerPoint kind of presentations. This folder plugin, that's a kind of a special one which I'll show you, but just keep that at the back of your mind for the moment. And then, in fact, since the last time I looked at this, they've added a few more plugins as well. So that's really interesting. That's good. So yeah, like in events. So Anne, you were asking about syncing calendars and showing events. I think this one will do the Mac one. I think the You Can Book Me will do it as well. Yeah, calendar, another one, another calendar booking one, and audio players. There's a Contact Us plugin, which I don't like, but you might. So I'm just giving you a bit of a warning that you might prefer just to use a standard web page for that, which is the one that's called Text WYSIWYG, this one here. Okay, all right. So here are a few plugins. Let's add one of them. Okay, so let's add a YouTube ad. Okay, so let's call this My Videos. Okay, now we're just adding it now. All we're doing is we're adding it to our database of plugins. Do we want on the side menu? Let's say yes. Okay, and then if I go to, so you notice on the Home plugin, it's not there because we didn't ask to add it to the Home plugin, but we can do that. I can say add plugin instance here, and it'll add it to the Home plugin as well, but it should be on my side menu. There it is, My Videos. Okay, so now the Buildfire has just put in a dummy YouTube channel in here. So what you do is you add your YouTube channel. I have to forget what mine's called now. I think it's called Gihan First. It's an old one, but that doesn't matter. Just to demonstrate, Gihan First Step, I think, is the one. Yeah, okay, so it's now got my videos in there in the content. I can choose whether I want just the whole channel, which is what I've done here, or what I did on my app was I had a playlist. So I picked a particular playlist, which I've set up on my channel, which is just the videos about the future, and I stick that in there, or I could just have a single video in here. Okay, so for example, when I did my show reel, I just did a single video, and that was a plugin, but then it appeared on another page as well. Okay, so any questions about this so far? I know I've only shown you a couple of plugins, but I hope you're kind of getting the concept that it's pretty easy to just add plugins to your app, and then all you're doing is you're building up your app step by step by step. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Home plugin for the moment. I think the reason it hasn't come up in the background is it's probably the wrong picture. I probably have to use a different picture. So you have to create pictures at different sizes. Like you can see here. I'm just going to insert that. Yeah, so that's one that appears in the preview. So you have to create all 4 of them so that they work on iPads, iPhones, all sorts of devices. I'm just kind of fudging it here by using the same picture in all 4 of them. But you can see the dimensions here, 640 by 960 and so on. So create them at those sizes. Okay, so I'm just seeing if there's questions. Good. Yeah, so people who have to leave at the time, you definitely get the recording, and you probably want to watch the recording again and again. And the help section is quite good. So they've got little video tutorials and articles about how to do various things within Buildfire. Okay, let's add some more plugins. I do want to show you the folder plugin, but to do that, I want to add a couple of others first. So you can see as I've added my plugins here, this background image, you can see now you can't read the words under here. So I need to go back into Appearance and change some of the text here. So I need to change I can't remember exactly which one it is, but I think it might be that one, or change the theme. Okay, when I change the theme and then go back to my Home plugin, I can see how that's changed. So you can see here, it's changed the color scheme. You can, if you want to be really fine-tuned, you can say I'm either going to have the appearance theme, which is the one that we just chose there, or I can customize it here and change this colors again. Okay, so you've got the choice. So it's quite good. It gives you quite fine-grained control over how you set up your app. David says, do you have to have all the images and graphics done beforehand? Yep, yes you do, David. That's the whole point of doing the extras bit that I'm going to show you at the end. So you set up your graphics beforehand at the dimensions that they recommend or that they request, and then you just upload them, and then you just have them uploaded to your library. So the only real work that you have to do, obviously you have to create the content for your app, but apart from that, the work you have to do is creating the graphics that are going to go into your app, which of course you have to do anyway, right? But I'll show you this tool that I use called Stencil to do that. Yeah, Anne says that image you create, is it just a bit at the top, or does it include the blue quilted look underneath? Yes, so it does, Anne. So where it says here that this one is 640 pixels across by 960 pixels high, so that's that whole graphic there. So I created it and I fiddled around a little bit to make it fit. So it kind of looks all right with the, it actually doesn't look too good with the 2 rows of 4, but you can also change the layout here. Thanks for asking that, because it gives me the chance to demonstrate this little feature here. I can change how it looks. So at the moment, it looks like this with rows of 4. I can change it to look like this with rows of 3, or like that, or like this. So I've got a little bit of control. I think that's the one that I chose for my app. So I chose my logo and my name to kind of stop there, so that then the app icons would appear right on there. So there's just a little bit of work to figure out how far up you want to stop your logo before the background appears, but that's a simple graphic task. Okay, I'm just checking to see if there are any other questions. Okay, good. So folks, we've done most of the work now, right? Because all it is now is just choosing other apps to plug into, other plugins to add to the either the home plugin or to add to the side menu. So let me choose a scheduling one, because a few people had apps that will have some sort of scheduling in there. So let's say, just call this Talk to Me. This time we won't add to the side menu. Okay, and now what it'll do, because this is now going to an external source, which is You Can Book Me. So it's now going to ask you for what's the name of your You Can Book Me. So you have to set up a You Can Book Me account. What's the name of your calendar, which is a bit that goes in here. So I think, let's say, I think I've got one called Gihan in Sydney. Just try that. Yeah, that's it. So it said okay. So this is one that doesn't show up on the preview, but I think it's, yeah, I think I can click that here and it might show up. Oh yeah, okay. So that one didn't work because I got the wrong address, but let's just do my normal one, Gihan Pereira. Okay, so what will happen there is on the app, when the user sees this, they'll see a link that says Talk to Me, and when they click it, it'll open up with a web version of, a mobile version of this. This is the web version of it. But it'll open up with the mobile version on their app, and they can make a booking straight away, like live in the app. Yeah, I don't know why it's taking a long time to load, but that doesn't matter. Anne says, do you get to know who downloaded the app? No, just like any other app in the App Store, you don't know who downloads it. You mentioned a members plugin. Please say a bit more about that. Brendan says that, yeah. Yeah, so David Penglay says, wouldn't you have everything on your home plugin listed on your side menu as well? So generally, yes, David. I think that's generally the way that people do it, that everything on their home plugin is on the side menu. So it's kind of a duplicate of the two. But there may be just a few minors that you don't. It's a little bit like with your website. You would definitely have everything on your like if your home page has a menu on it, then that will also be the same as the top menu or the side menu that you have on your website. It doesn't have to be that way, and there are a couple of things that you may choose not to put there. Okay, I don't know why that's not opening. That should, but just ignore that. That's just a little bit of a glitch. Yeah, so generally, yes. I when I was playing around, when I was building my app, I was playing around with what I'd have on the home menu and the home plugin. And the only thing that I decided on, David, was because I knew I wanted to have, I hadn't decided whether I was going to have 2 rows of 4 or 3 rows of 3. So it just came out numbers. I thought, okay, if I'm going to have 9 things on my home plugin, what 9 are they going to be? Or if I'm going to have 8, what 8 are they going to be? And maybe I'd have to sacrifice a couple of them, which could appear on the side menu, but not in the home plugin. And mine now does have a Share My App on the home plugin, but in the first version it didn't. I thought I needed something else on there. And in fact, that one might go, because I think I might add a little Twitter feed to show my articles about the future that I'm curating, and then in that case, the Share My App plugin will disappear from the home plugin, but it'll still appear on the side menu. Okay, I think I've answered the questions that have come in, except for the members plugin. Okay, so let's add a members plugin. Let's add that in, and we'll see what it looks like. So we'll add a plugin. Okay, so you can choose from the ones that are already set up for you or that you've created, or you can create a new one. So we're going to create a new one. Okay, and this is you tell me if I've skipped it. Don't think I have. Yes, I have. Where is it? Social wall. Here we go. I'll just call it Brendan. So nice for you. Side menu, yes, we'll add it there. Okay, and it's also in here. So I can click on it here now in the preview. Yeah, so this is where people can post. So so this is for users to post, whereas the rest of the app, like the blog, is about where you as the app designer, so we post to there, and our users can just read it. And this one lets people post themselves, so they can type a message. It goes on there. It's just like a big wall. So they can. But it's private, so they have to register when they register on the app. I mean, it's free registration. They just have to give a username and password, and then they can post on the app. So all your app users can then be making comments in the app itself. So it's pretty basic in terms of membership site, but it's still quite effective if you've got an active membership, so the people who are actually willing to work that way. So, Anne, I'm thinking in your case, for example, like you might work with certain groups where they will actually want to keep in touch with each other after you deliver your workshop. I remember you used to use Ning for this, and you set up Ning membership sites, like little mini membership sites. The app might be the 2016 version of that. If you're still doing that sort of thing through Ning. Okay, does it help you, Brendan? Because I know you specifically asked about that. Please ask me more if you want to know more about it. Anne says, yes, I was thinking that. Good. I'm glad I have a mind reader. Okay, there is one other really important, thanks, Brendan, he said all good. One really important plugin to know and to understand. It's a plugin called a folder. I'll show you what I've done on mine. It's an odd kind of name, but once you know what it does, it kind of makes sense. The folder plugin is, actually I should have left that one open because I've got this open on my other window. Apologies, I'll leave that one there. So back on mine, this About Gihan page here, it's not just a standard little web page. So I'll show you the distinction. So this one, the Get in Touch page, is just like creating a standard web page. And you can see here all I've done, and it's got this nice little builder tool here. So I can just type in text, I can insert images, make links and so on. That's pretty straightforward. I'm sure you've done that sort of thing for your own website, probably. If you're doing any sort of website management, all these icons and things, you got them off the internet and uploaded them with permission. Got them off the internet and uploaded them, and then just linked them to my Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. So that's useful. And this bit here is just like a standard web page. But what I want to do is, if I want to add more stuff to it, then what I use is a folder. That was one itself, but I'll show you a better example. So the About Gihan here, it has some images at the top, this text bit here, and then after that, other links. So a folder is simply, you can have, as you see here, an image carousel and some text, but then links to other plugins. Okay, so folder is a collection of plugins. So I've got here, when I click on Speaker Show Reel, that links to one of those YouTube plugins that I had. Okay, so there's my YouTube. And you remember I showed you the YouTube earlier, which is the channel feed. This one is just a single video. It also links to another YouTube plugin here, which is my full keynote, which is again a single video. It also links to my testimonials plugin, which is just a basic. So this one is using a plugin which allows me to just upload a list of pictures and text. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Yeah, they can see that. Add new items, and I can just set up a picture and some text with each one. That plugin was called, I forget what kind of plugin that was, but sorry, that wasn't the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was that the folder has links to other plugins. So it took me a while, because I knew I wanted something like this. It took me a while to find it. What you're looking for is a plugin called Folder. Okay, and it's in the plugin section. It's a little bit different from the other plugins. All the other plugins are the individual content. Folder is a plugin that links to other plugins. Just like Home plugin links to other plugins like this. It's got 9 links on there. Folder is the one other that does the same thing. So just be aware when you're building your app, you're probably going to use a Folder plugin at some point. And this is what it is. Okay, anything more? I mean, we could just go through all these plugins one at a time, but I only want to do the ones that you're most interested in, and then we'll go on to the extras. I'll show you how to create graphics and link to WordPress feeds. So please ask me some other questions. Probably the easiest thing for me to do is show the plugins again. Okay. Yep, okay, I might be jumping the gun, but how does it get loaded onto the App Store, etc.? Yep, great. That's exactly what I'm going to do at the end of this, David. So just for me to jump the gun, you just press that button, the Publish button, and you fill in a couple of forms. You give your credit card details a couple of times, and then you're done. But I will show you that. It'll only take me a couple of minutes to demonstrate that. So an architecture question here, how would you give content and then offer options? Would that be a folder? Yes, exactly right, Brendan. So if you're giving, say, for example, a YouTube video, so let me use your example, Brendan. So you might show a YouTube video, which is a little tutorial. I know you use a checklist, but let me pretend that it's a YouTube video. And then you say at the bottom, if you want them to actually buy it, then you can link to the Shopify folder. So a Shopify plugin. So you start off with the video plugin, the YouTube plugin, and then click through to the Shopify or the WooCommerce plugin, whatever you're using, and then you've got a folder with two things in there. It's just got the video, single video, and then it's got the link to the Shopify or the YouTube plugin, Shopify or WooCommerce plugin. Okay, and that's one that you just add the same way as any of the others that we've added. So folder is quite useful. It doesn't have any content in itself, but it's quite useful if you want to have more than one plugin on a screen. I keep wanting to say page, but on a screen, if you want to have more than one, then you use folder. So even though I said that the get in touch on my app, get in touch is just basically plain text. It kind of is, except it's really a folder because I've got the text at the top, and then I've got a link to my Booking Me folder. You can book me folder. You can book me plugin, and I've got a link to the Share App plugin, which is one of the standard ones that Buildfire gives me, so that the user, when they get to this page, they don't know it, but it's a folder with three things: this text at the top, and then links to two other plugins. Okay. I don't see any other questions coming in. I think I've given you time to ask questions. So let me demonstrate exactly what David was asking. How do you publish it? So once we've got it ready to go, so there's my Gihan's test. As soon as you say publish, it'll tell you that if there's anything you've missed out. So yeah, so we missed out a couple of things. So we don't yet have an app icon, and we don't have a couple of loading screens on there. So that's okay. We'll go to appearance, and I'll just load a couple of dummy things in there, just for the sake of getting us through this step. So let me just upload some dummy loading screens. So Buildfire tries to make it easy for you not to stuff up, so your app will actually look okay, especially for Apple, for the iTunes Store, because all the apps get reviewed. You want to make sure that your app actually it looks good, it's designed well, everything's functional, because otherwise it'll just get rejected from the iTunes Store. Okay, so these are bad graphics I've uploaded because they're completely the wrong dimensions, but this is just for the sake of me demonstrating it. So go publish. Okay, and then it says publishing information is missing, which is correct. And then you go to the publishing information, which is basically filling in the forms. So you had to fill in the information about, so this is actually what's going to appear in the store. And you can see here your general information, Apple specific information, and decide which categories it goes into. A Google Play account, so you need to set up a Google developer account, and you need to set up an Apple iTunes account. Depending on which version of Buildfire you're paying for, Buildfire will sometimes, on certain plans, you can upload it under their account. But I reckon you should set up your own iTunes developer account and publish it there. And they'll give you the instructions on how to do that. It costs about, I think it costs $100 a year, US. And the Google developer account, that also costs money. So it's less. It's like $25 a year. And you have to do that. You have to do that, so you don't have the choice with that one. With the Apple one, you do have the choice, but you might as well set it up yourself. I went through it. It wasn't that painful, actually. It just the biggest pain was spending $100. Everything else was just filling in some simple forms. It's attached to your main Apple account, and all you got to do is just fill in a form, pay some money, and you're set up as a developer. So you basically have to go through this form, and then that's it. And then you go, yes, submit for publishing. And as long as you filled in everything, it then gets submitted. They reckon it could take a couple of weeks. Mine took a couple of days, literally, to get published. So it's pretty quick. I think they're just saying a couple of weeks for just to be on the safe side. After you press the publish button, you can still keep working on your app. So it doesn't matter. You don't lose the ability to keep modifying your app. So when you're ready to publish and you've got a good enough app to publish, go ahead and publish. The other thing is that, which is quite good with Buildfire, is that every time you make a change to your app, it doesn't necessarily mean that the user has to download an update. Because you every time you turn your phone on, it says there are 10 new updates and 10 new apps that need updating. But just because you make a change, it doesn't have to automatically, it doesn't force the user to download an update every time. There's certain things that do, like if you change the whole appearance, or if you change, there's some structural things that if you change them, then they have to download an update. But most of the time, you can change your app quite happily, and it dynamically updates on the phone without the user having to do anything. Brendan, okay, question. Purchase of digital goods not allowed. Can you elaborate on that? Yeah, look, I think for this, Brendan, because Apple's very controlling on what people can buy through their apps. So yeah, because they want to clip the tickets, so they want to take a percentage of every sale, which is why even on, say, the Kindle app, so the Kindle app, which is a very, very popular app, on my Android phone, I can buy ebooks from the Kindle store using the Kindle app. The Apple version on my iPad I can't, because Apple won't, well, because Amazon doesn't want to give Apple 30% of its of every Kindle sale, of every book sale. So with the Apple version, the iPad version, it has to go to the Kindle store website, open on Safari, and I can buy the book from there. So it's very inconvenient to users, but it's one of the rules about the way that Apple works. So just check their rules carefully, because that is important. And just check with Buildfire. The support is pretty good, so just check with them about if you're trying to do any sort of sales through your app, and what that means when you're uploading it to the iTunes store, because otherwise it'll get rejected, or if they find out later, it'll get rejected. Okay, any other questions about that? I'm not an expert really in how the rules around the apps, but the Buildfire people are, and you can just contact them for support. I find that they're pretty quick with support questions. Okay, any other questions about the app? And about using Buildfire? I reckon you should try it. It's not that hard to do. Definitely try playing around. So I reckon if you're going to now try working with it, and I think it's a good idea to start working with it as soon as possible, what I would do is go and set up a new app. So set up an account at Buildfire, set up an app that you'd like to work with, and play around with it as much as you like. Get the Buildfire previewer so that you can then preview it on your phone or your tablet, and just see what it's like to use it, and then publish it when you're ready. As I said, it only takes a couple of days to publish, so it doesn't take a lot of effort. Once you're ready to publish, just go ahead and do that. There are some additional services that Buildfire provides, so I'll just show you what those pro services are. Sorry, so I saw a question coming in. Okay, okay, so people saying, thank you, very enlightening. David's saying, yeah, another bright, shiny object I'm chasing. Yeah, so look, for me as well with the app, so I have two reasons for doing this. Obviously, because I'm running for the eGurus members, I want to make this sort of information available. But for me, it took me a while to decide that I wanted an app, and the only reason I did it was because people kept asking me after presentations, what books do you recommend, what videos do you think I should watch, what are you doing to keep in touch and to keep yourself informed. I thought, great, this is the perfect reason I should have an app, because people are actually going to use it. So mine was basically generated on demand, so that was really useful for me. David says, I think seriously, this is a great added value service for my clients. Yeah, agree, David. Exactly right. And I know you're all about adding value, so it's exactly right. So I've kind of shown you, I've talked you through the whole Buildfire process with the standard stuff that's available. They do have, if you want to pay them a bit more money, which is really good, it's worthwhile doing, they will build an app for you. So they will do it at a couple of levels. So as I said, the $750 version is basically where they do the work for you. Here we go. Okay, so everything I've showed you, they will do for you. You have a design meeting with them, and then they will build a little mini app, so 6 to 10 plugins, and with some sort of graphics that you want. There's a next version there which does the $1,500, basically Australian dollars, maybe a bit more, a bigger version, and you have a bit more control over it. Or you can do this sort of custom plugins. And this is where, if you want special kinds of plugins, Buildfire, even though it has all the standard plugins, it does allow you to extend it. So if you get an app developer and you say, oh, look, I want a custom plugin built to add to my app, you don't have to pay them to build the whole app. They can build it and add it into the Buildfire system, or you can get Buildfire to do it for you. So that's an option as well if you want something more sophisticated. Okay, that's kind of pretty much what I want to show you for building the app. As I said, I have a couple of extras that I did want to show you, and they're really about some of the extras that go along with the app, because you might have your own way of doing it, and if you already have your own way of doing this, then please use your own way. I'm quite happy you can use that, and you may not need to see this next section at all. But if you want to use the some of the tools that I use, then let me just quickly demonstrate them for you now. So we've gone through lots of questions. If you have any questions as we go through the next 15 minutes about what we've already covered in Buildfire, that's okay. Please ask those questions as well. Don't feel that you finish your time for questions. Let me just demonstrate a couple of other tools that I use for some of the things that build the content for the app. So one of them is a tool called Stencil, which you can get at getstencil.com. It's one of those online graphic design tools. So some people like Canva, canva.com, which is another really popular tool, more popular than this one. Canva is great. If you're already using Canva, then use that. Stencil is what I just got recently, and I really like it. I used to create all my graphics using PowerPoint, and PowerPoint's a great little tool for creating graphics, because you create, you lay it out, you do all your work, then you save, then you just take a screen snapshot of your PowerPoint slide, and that's a graphic that you can save. Or if you know how to group all the items together and save it as a picture, then you can save that. You can save it that way as well. The downside of PowerPoint is you don't know what pixel size the graphics are going to end up as. You know like what centimeter size on the PowerPoint screen, but you don't know when you save them what pixel size you get. A Stencil kind of gets around that. So does Canva, by the way. So let me show you how Stencil works. So basically, Stencil is a very simple graphic design tool for creating simple sort of graphics. It was originally designed for creating things like, Facebook graphics or LinkedIn header graphics. So it's kind of set up, and they've set it up so that you can with standard sizes for LinkedIn posts or Facebook posts or Twitter. So it's quite well set out that way, but you can also use it to customize for any sort of size that you want. So let me show you how that works. Okay, so let me just open up my web browser window. All right, let me demonstrate creating one for you. So I'll demonstrate this using, first of all, I'll show you some of the graphics that I did create, like those testimonial graphics. Let's go to saved images. So here are the graphics that I created for the app. Okay, so the app at one point wanted me to create a graphic which was 800 by 1280, like that. And so I can actually take these bits apart and I'll show you what I did. So Anne, you were asking about the quilted background. So I had a photo, I had that branding bit, I had this graphic here. That background image is one that I just got from a stock library site, and I've created that little grey bar. So I'm not a graphic designer by any means, so but I can use Stencil myself to do that. So all I do is I create backgrounds. So in here you can choose backgrounds. There's a whole bunch of backgrounds already available. You can search for a background. So if you want a background around future, okay, let's say I want that background there. Okay, so there's my background inserted, or if I want that background is inserted. Here's a graphic that I found from a stock library, but I could upload another one if I want to. So under icons and graphics, uploads. Let me do an upload. Here's one that I got this morning. Okay, and then I insert that, and then it just goes in there. Okay, I can scale it up. You can upload as many as you like. The way that Stencil works is that you basically move things around. So you choose the size that you want first, and then move things around to fit, and you scale them up to size and you move them around. So if I want my photo to go here, actually I want to move it forward. So if you use any sort of photo building, graphics building tool, you'd be familiar with these sort of things, but I found that Stencil is particularly easy to use. So as I moved it along, it says, okay, now it's centered. And it's there. Let me get rid of that. So let me delete that photo, and that one's gone. Okay, so there, it's very ugly design, but that's the way that's to give you an example. Save it and then download, and it lets you download in, okay, let's save first, and then it lets you download, and then just insert, then upload it directly to Buildfire or to any other program that you want. Okay, let's go download. Yep, and then it gives you the two options, JPEG or PNG, and different dimensions to download. So I use this for a number of things. For example, and you can set up templates as well, which are just once you save it, once you create a graphic, under save, you can just save as template and then it's available for you. So it has a whole bunch of templates. What I do is I have templates for the things that I do frequently, like new testimonials that I'm going to add into the app. I've got a template here. I just change the words. So I can type in new words, put in the new person's photo, and then save it and download it, and I've got a new template right there. I do it when I promote a webinar. I have a template for that, so that it's got the it's kind of set up at the right dimensions for use in my blog or on LinkedIn. So it's been a bit slow there, but yeah, I just change the words, change the background image, change the date, save, and I've got a new graphics ready to go. Okay, so just want to demonstrate that to you. Any quick questions about that? If you're not using anything else, I recommend get this. It's getstencil.com. It's a monthly subscription. I remember getting mine as one of those specials from AppSumo, so I can't remember how much I pay, but you just pay a monthly subscription. It's ideal for things like blog posts and Facebook posts and social media things, and it's got these really nice templates, and you can then change. So let's say I like that template, but I want to make it the ideal size for a Facebook post. Then it resizes it automatically, and then I can change the words, the font, and so on. Okay, it's a really powerful but really simple to use tool. Any questions about that? Okay, good. Good. The other thing I wanted to show you, and this is very brief, is if you want to add into your app, let me switch back to my PowerPoint screen. If you want to add into your app things like things from your blog or things from YouTube, then this is the format to use. So don't write this down, but it'll be available obviously in the recording. And the way I've set up my blog for use in my app is that I've said that I don't want everything that I blog about to appear in my app, because it'll have things like announcements of webinars, just other stuff that I don't think is relevant necessarily for my app consumers. I've decided to be really specific. So I've said that anything that has, for example, the tag of articles and the category of future is going to appear in the read articles plugin on my app. So the way I do that is on my blog, which I'll show you here. So let me go to just get my blog open. Okay, so on my blog, I've got this article, which is a recent one that I wrote, published today. What's the future of self-driving cars? And so I've written as a blog post, and what I need to do, but I haven't done it on this one, is I need to put it in the category called future and tag it with articles, and then it'll appear on the blog, like on the app, like this one here, Leads versus Loyalty. You saw that one was on the app because I have tagged it correctly or appropriately. So I've tagged it with articles, which means it'll now appear on the app. And if you're using a WordPress blog, there's a certain format that you use to make sure that to pick particular categories and particular tags. So this is one way of making sure that your app is continues to be valuable for people and doesn't annoy them with unnecessary stuff. For example, yesterday or a couple of days ago, my blog post was promoting this webinar right now, but I didn't really want to include that as the articles that appear on the app, because most people who get the app, it would be nice if someone got the app and signed up for the webinar, but I don't really want to make the app too promotional, so that one wasn't tagged with anything specific. It was tagged with mobile, but mobile isn't something that appears in the app, on the app. And when I do my recommended podcasts, that one's tagged with podcasts, and I've got one of my plugins on the app that says anything tagged with podcasts appears on the listen to podcasts. Appears on Listen to Podcast plugin on the app. Okay, so that's how I control what appears under each one of these tabs, under each one of these plugins. And the way you do that is by just understanding the format for WordPress or whatever platform you're using to be able to get specific feeds, not just the whole blog, into your app. Similarly, when you use YouTube, YouTube's a little bit easier because it just gives you a link for a playlist. I mean, some cryptic name like this, but it's pretty easy. You just go to YouTube and it gives you that link, and then you paste it into the app, and that makes it work. It's quite easy to use. Okay, any questions about that? So about Stencil, about WordPress, about the putting your WordPress blogs into your app. Okay, I'm just giving you time to type in your questions if you want to. You can raise your hand if you want to ask. We're pretty much done here. That's it. As I said, I hope that you start using this here. Dave says exhausted. So the thing is, like, watch the recording, make an app as soon as possible, and just even if it's a play app that you're not necessarily going to use a lot, use and publish, just try it out. I think you'll find it quite effective. And the nice thing about the apps that we're creating is that they're generally apps that add value, so you can launch them straight away, offer them to your existing clients, your members, and then that gives value immediately. Even if you're not trying to sell it, you don't have to spend a lot of money promoting the app, because you just promote to the people who already know, like, and trust you, and they want it. So thanks everyone. I will send you the recording. If you've got any more questions about it, please drop me a line by email. And also, if you've got technical questions about Buildfire, I find the Buildfire people to be quite good at answering support questions. I tried a couple of real questions and a couple as a test, and they were pretty good. They were pretty good at responding to them. So thanks everyone, and all the best with your app. Bye for now.